Hello friends, bienvenidos. My name is Jen, aka Jen Kahlo on social media, your local witchy friend and intuitive guide through the occult. As always, my lovely husband and co-host is David, aka Premier Pulls on social media.
Hi everyone, on today's episode, Jen explains Aries season.
Welcome to the show, grab a chair, make yourself at home. Jen's got stories to share, you'll never feel alone.
Yes, I always love the sign episodes. I can't believe that this is our second to last one because we started in Gemini.
We're winding down, yeah. We're ending strong on Taurus. As a matter of fact, I think I asked you this morning in bed, I said, what signs do we have left? I thought maybe we had like about 3. This is it. We're rounding it out. So these are really fun to do and I enjoy them, but I think it'd also be good to like do other episodes in between. When we started these were kind of like the ones that were super consistent. So obviously it's 12 of them and it's coming to an end. So I think what's really nice about this, other than the celebrity parts, is it's a catalog and it'll hold true. So no matter what your sign is or, what you have in your different signs, whether it's your rising or your moon, you can always go back to these episodes and listen to them. And in theory, they should still hold true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So, let's go into Aries. It's the fire season, but before that, or the fire sign. But before that, any housekeeping?
Yeah. So I will be at Infinity Coven the last Saturday of March. So if you want to come get a reading, we will be open. So you can pre-book or just walk in if you want to pre-book to see me in San Francisco. My link is going to be in the bio.
Great. And we did an event for Luna's 1-year anniversary. The event was on March 15th.
Yep.
And it was a great success. Congratulations to Luna and all their vendors. So if this is your first time hearing an episode, welcome to our podcast. We were able to meet a lot of great people, a lot of interesting folks in the community. And it was just fun all around, just kind of that celebratory hitting a year mark. I know how excited we were when you and I hit our year mark for our anniversary episode. So it's really cool just seeing that, especially in the small community. And we met a bunch of cool people.
Yes, we made a lot of good friends. Leave a comment or leave a voice memo if this is your first time hearing that episode. We would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. Then I think what did we do last week? We did something retrograde, Venus retrograde. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think we had any questions, but right now we're in the height of it, right?
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling good. I feel like I've been tracking transits like as an amateur for 4 years and then professionally for about to be 6 years, so close to a decade. So at this point, I feel like the transits don't shake me as much because I know what to expect.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how it's going to unfold, but I have an idea. So I'm okay. I'm pretty chill. When things happen, I'm just like, of course. Oh, one of the things we talked about was how retrogrades are not always horrible and terrible. Specifically, Venus retrograde is one of the actually more productive ones. And long story short, David was inspired to look at competitive utility services and was like, what is the value in what we're getting? And so we ended up saving money and getting better service, and we've just been nerding out about that. And we're like, Venus retrograde, yay!
Well, you've been saying the Venus part. But one thing, you pointed out, we had a carrier. Are we just not saying names?
No.
Okay.
Until they pay us, no.
Okay. We had a sell. I love it. No, that just made me chuckle. But we had a service carrier that we were paying some pretty decent money for. And I just felt like anytime we went out into the city, we never had reception, which was super annoying. And it's one of those things that I think you don't think about too much, but in the moment you're pissed off and then you're moving on to your next thing. So you don't kind of keep that in your recollection. And it wasn't happening more than usual. It just has been really bad for almost since we got to Merced, but we just never I think took enough interest. But over these last couple of weeks, I've just been so annoyed. I was like, I feel like anytime I go out, I'm not connected anywhere. I can't look up like a simple video. I'm sure like a lot of you, if you're out shopping, you want to look up a product or see if it'll be compatible with like what you need it for. And I just kind of hit a breaking point. I was like, this is ridiculous. We pay so much money and like we're not getting the service we pay for. And then I think when I first asked you about it, you were like, yeah, I mean, I just kind of connect to Wi-Fi or I don't move out. Like you weren't dismissive, but I think you acknowledged how it was annoying, but it wasn't annoying enough to like do anything about it. And I think I was just kind of a little extra vocal, like, no, this is not cool.
Yeah.
So we just did some investigating. We hit up our friends and we're like, hey, what networks do you recommend in the area? And we got some suggestions, so we did, and we actually got a great deal. We not only ended up switching our cellular providers, but we also switched our internet providers. So, like, kind of a drastic move for something that was like a long time coming. And I was just happy to get it over with. But you mentioned that because of Venus retrograde, that might have an impact, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and just for context, like uploading an episode for David, he does all of the production, like would take 45 minutes on YouTube, for example. Now it's 5 minutes.
Yeah,
like
no,
it's
super
an amazing deal.
Yeah, so it'll make my productivity better. We're paying about the same amount, and we're actually getting our money's worth this time. So I'm just like super happy overall. So thank you for listening to me, and I'm glad that there's answers to why it was bothering me so much. So, but enough of that. Enough of the retrogrades. Let's go into Aries season. Tell me all about it.
I love Aries, and there is a reason why I love Aries. I was hardwired that way. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, Aries, one of my favorite signs. Aries is a cardinal fire sign ruled by Mars. It's the first zodiac sign of, the year. So basically, this is like our actual year in astrology, in nature. And fun fact, the first day of Aries season is always during the spring equinox. We did an episode about the spring equinox, so go check it out if you want to. But also a lot of like Middle Eastern countries, specifically like the Persian New Year called Nowruz, is also on the first day of the spring equinox. So it's super cool to see that.
What day does that fall on this year?
This year, it will be March 21st through April 19th. That will be Aries season.
Okay. Well, this episode, it won't be out. It will be out a little before Aries season, I believe, right?
I forget what next Wednesday is, but
yeah. So this episode will be out on the 19th, but it'll be a couple of days. So we're not quite in Aries season. We're in what season are we in right now?
We're in Pisces.
Pisces, that's right. But we're kind of transitioning into that. I see in our notes that you put that it's a mutable sign. Remind us what or did I get that wrong?
No, cardinal.
Cardinal. What is that the ones that there's ones that are at the beginning, there's one that transitions, and one towards the end. So is this cardinal, is it like in the middle?
So
or beginning?
Pop quiz, beginning.
Beginning because of the spring equinox. Yeah, okay,
yeah. Cool. There you go, you got it.
Yeah, and this is a fire sign, not an earth sign, right?
Yes,
Okay.
It is the fire sign.
Remind me a little bit about our fire signs. Which other ones are fire signs?
So we have Aries, we have Leo, and we have Sagittarius.
Oh, we're Leo.
Yeah, so basically it's a cousin.
God. Oh, yeah. And wait, we'll get into it, but your cousin is also, she's an Aries?
Yes, one of my favorite cousins. She actually left a voice memo, which we'll play in a little bit with a question. But
all right, so tell me about Aries. Like, what's their deal? What's their vibe?
Yeah, so their symbol is the ram. They're ruled by Mars. Mars is a red planet, so I think it's very fitting.
And Mars is also the god of war, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
they're pissed off all the time.
Yes, we will talk about that, but yes. So yes, like you said, they are cardinal signs like Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. So those are the first signs of the season. So Aries is the first sign of spring, Cancer is the first sign of summer, Libra is the first sign of fall, and Capricorn is the first sign of winter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why the imagery that I'm getting is the little emotion from Inside Out, the little red with the fire. It goes,
yes, exactly.
Those are the vibes I'm getting. So
it is the vibe, and I love the vibe. They are leaders and disruptors. They cannot be tamed. Yeah, I love that about them. So at their best, they are confident, courageous, energetic, determined, honest, and optimistic.
I like those characteristics.
Yeah, they will not sugarcoat it for you. At their worst, though, they're impulsive, short-tempered, aggressive, self-centered, stubborn. But they are sweethearts at the end of the day. They're very much like the embodiment of tough love. I'm sure you've seen the memes of the hot Cheeto girl.
Yes.
Aries are that hot Cheeto girl.
With the Cookie Monster pajama bottoms.
Yup.
Well, for those of you who are not familiar with the hot Cheeto girls, it fits a very typical like stereotype, like an archetype. Usually POC, but it is across the board. But they kind of wake up, put on their usually Sesame Street themed pajama bottoms. Favorited is the Cookie Monster.
That's the stereotype.
They go to school, they show up late, but they still go. They're still there. They still go. And they love eating hot Cheetos, and they can be identified by their red finger stains and having their nails done. They're kind of the girls that like do their makeup in class or kind of spray themselves down with like a Victoria's Secret body mister. So it's a very particular archetype. They can be like annoying and loud and disruptive, but they will also stand up for the little guys. So if another girl's getting bullied, they're the first ones that'll like talk to the bully and be like, "You're not that great. Like, why are you bullying so and so?" A very interesting stereotype. I do feel like they're always getting in trouble, though. I wonder if it's just like
they can't be tamed. They don't like to be dominated.
They're misunderstood.
They're the dominant ones. Yeah. I was cracking up because you know who comes to mind is Danielle Bergoli, aka Bad Bobby, aka Bad Baby, aka Catch Me Outside Girl. Yeah, because she had the red hair in the interview. She's like, "Catch me outside."
Is she an Aries? You think?
I just googled it because I was like, I will bet my life savings that she's an Aries, and she is
an Aries. Yeah. So kind of looked through her stuff. She's actually beefing with Alabama Barker right now. That's the son of Travis Barker. But yeah, I think that's an interesting archetype, and I think this is the first time we've had like an archetype that we can really be like, this is who this person is. But yeah, I think their good characteristics are awesome. The confident, the courageous, energetic, and then like determined. And at their worst, you know, I think you can't have one without the other. We talk a lot about balance here. Mm-hmm. I think it would be a lot to be all these strong characteristics, like imposing, and then not have that counterbalance of like, it's just like a flame, right? You can't keep a flame going without oxygen and a fuel source. So with that, their worst, like the impulsivity, you kind of have to like tame it. And it seems like from what you're telling me, those are the hardest parts of them, right?
Yep.
But they seem super loyal also.
Yeah, I would say that like,
but don't cross an Aries.
But don't cross them. Yeah. A lot of Aries that I met, like they have a tough exterior, but deep down they're sweethearts. They give that vibe to me.
And it's like you say in every of these episodes, like there's a little bit of everything in everyone, right? So if somebody's sign is an Aries, like, and their rising is different or their moon sign is different, then that'll kind of completely change that characteristic of that person. All right, what else can you tell us about Aries?
When I think about taming an Aries, I think about like the chivos or like the rams or goats with like the pool noodles on there. How it's like really goofy.
So they don't hurt themselves?
Or others. But anyway.
How do they, and we'll go into like the celebrities and all that, but how are they in like the professional environment? Because in school, we talk about the hot Cheeto girl. At the end of the day, the teacher can just like dismiss them, fail them. There's not a lot of consequence as far as like their life during like high school. But what about when they move on to that and kind of hit the real world? Like, how does an Aries navigate the world?
A lot of Aries that I've met in the workforce are natural leaders. So a lot of the Aries that I've met are in leadership positions.
Okay.
I've had a co-manager that was an Aries. I had a supervisor that was an Aries. And then we have a director where I work now that's an Aries. And so, yeah, I always see them in like positions of power, for better or for worse.
Go ahead.
My one supervisor that was in Aries ended up telling the executive director to fuck off, and then he got fired shortly after that.
But he does a lot better by himself, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So that worked out.
I was going to say a lot of Aries give like entrepreneur vibes, or at the very least, like, don't micromanage me.
Yeah. Let me say an observation and let me know if you agree with it or disagree. Because Aries is a fire sign and so are Leos, and obviously we're Leos. I think the difference is like the Aries are kind of go for it. Like they really don't give a shit and they don't care what people think. They're just very impulsive and can be aggressive. I don't think we Leos are. I think we're a little more like regal, stubborn, and vain. Like I could see Leos being more like main character energy, whereas Aries is like, I don't really care what the fuck you think. I'm just gonna do it. Is that true?
Yeah. Aries doesn't care how they're perceived. Leo cares a little bit.
We care a lot of it. Okay, so could like Leo be royalty and Aries be like a soldier? Is that a good
absolutely
analogy?
Especially because they're ruled by Mars, which is like war and battle. They don't care to be king. They're more like, let's do what is in my best interest, and my best interest is like, keeping things safe or like getting rid of my enemies. So no, definitely.
Do you think it's exhausting? Because I feel like I'm sure there are Aries who are introverted, but it's giving a lot of like type A personality. How do you think they recharge like their batteries? Do you think it gets tiring just being like that intense all the time?
I think so, but I don't think it's type A like Virgo where it's like everything needs to be organized. I think it's more type A in terms of like, don't tell me what to do. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do. So, yeah, I just feel like Aries are always like on the defense. Well, they do both defense and offense, but I feel like they're always trying to show that they can stand on their own 2 feet and they don't like it when people impose on them.
I see.
Yeah. So the fact
that they're not really even big about being diplomatic, right?
No, hell no.
Okay.
No, they don't care.
Kind of going back to us again. This is the Leo in me. I think Leos do care about being diplomatic, right? They feel like they're right, but also like, let's keep order in our house and let's keep order in the situation.
Yeah, Leos try to be more persuasive, like, let me show you why I'm right, versus Aries, they don't care about being perceived, so they're like, I don't care if you're mad, stay mad.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so let's give some examples. Some famous, infamous, or what just renowned Aries period: Vincent van Gogh, talk about impulsive. Mariah Carey, I don't know her. El Chapo, enough said. Senna, the famous F1 driver, he has such a cool story. He's definitely one that did not take no for an answer. He has a movie. Is it a movie or a docuseries?
It's a docuseries on Netflix.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It's so, even if you don't like F1, like, his story is just so cool. Emma Watson, Lady Gaga, Marvin Gaye, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Pharrell Williams, Maya Angelou, and my personal favorite, Lil Nas X.
Yeah, I think you chose a really good cohort to represent based on kind of what you're saying the Aries are. Kind of with Vincent van Gogh, he kind of a sad story. I think he definitely suffered from depression. I don't necessarily think he didn't care too much what people thought, but a lot of his work was like very introspective and very bold. He's very famous for obviously cutting off his ear, but I don't think that's, I don't know. But now based on what you're saying with like the Aries, I think there's more to that. It wasn't like I'm going crazy. Maybe he was, but I think it was more like, this is what I think I need to do at this moment, so I'm going to do it. Right? Or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think definitely very impulsive, very emotional. But he was also a maverick in his field, right? Like, he's a well-renowned artist, so he's more than just like the guy that cut his ear off. Like,
Yeah.
he also just like had such groundbreaking work. So
Yeah, his impressionism and his self-portraits, definitely going down in history as one of the best artists in the world. So, Mariah Carey, oh, Mimi. When I think diva, I think Mariah Carey. There's a lot of well-renowned divas from, Aretha Franklin to like more newer ones like Ariana Grande.
Aretha Franklin is also an Aries, I think.
Oh, is she? But when I think the stereotype or the archetype of a diva, I definitely think Mariah Carey. Oh gosh, she has so many famous one-liners, but one of the most famous ones is when they asked her like, tell us about Jennifer Lopez, and she's like, I don't know who that is. It's like, girl, you know who Jennifer Lopez is. She was just being messy, but also just so passionate, right? She hits high notes that like nobody else can hit. She's been able to maintain relevancy every time Christmas rolls around. Like, she gets millions of dollars. Like, very unique person, huh? She beefed with Eminem. Like, talk about somebody who doesn't give a shit. Like, I wouldn't want to go against Eminem, and she was like, the rumor obviously that they like slept together, but it just seems someone who's super doesn't care. So, all right, El Chapo Guzman, tell us about El Chapo.
I don't want to disappear tomorrow.
Yeah, neither do I.
You could Google him.
He's a very infamous drug lord from Mexico. Power, to the nth degree. Obviously had to be very confident to do what he did and determined. So, unfortunately, a lot of the worst characteristics did come out: impulsiveness, short-tempered, and aggressive. Senna, he was a race car driver for Formula One. Unfortunately, he did pass away, but also somebody who did not take no for an answer. He was from Brazil, obviously a more impoverished area, and Formula One is a very wealthy people's sport. So the fact that he was even able to break in is huge, and he just kind of revolutionized different techniques. He was really great of driving in the rain, and I know yesterday we watched the first F1 race of the year, and it was in the rain and everybody was struggling, but he loved it. He learned how to develop different techniques and different ways to maneuver a car in the rain at really high speed. So again, aggressive with that, but also very determined, and unfortunately he did pass away
on the racetrack.
I'll skip a couple of these. Lady Gaga, you want to talk about Lady Gaga?
Yeah, she definitely did not care what people thought. She attracted a lot of the oddballs because her power, her presence to be so confidently herself, people were like, I really resonate with that. And yeah, I love her. I am a fellow little monster in the fandom.
Yeah. I think Lady Gaga is one of the few artists you and I can both agree that we really like and are very impressed by. I know we talk about a lot of artists you like, and I'm just and then a lot of artists I like, and we don't overlap. But Lady Gaga, yeah, just super impressed from obviously her vocal talents to her acting talents and to her. I don't want to say she popularized avant-garde because obviously there's Freddie Mercury, David Bowie, but I think she's our generation's this is who took it to the next level. She didn't seem to be scared to do things differently.
Yep.
Even though, again, things that she has done are not revolutionary, but I think just the way she embraced it, and I know a lot of people look up to her. She's kind of one of those people that is a voice for the oddball, the misfits of you'll fit in. So yeah,
exactly,
really cool. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, super famous basketball player. He played for the Lakers. He united with Magic Johnson, and Magic Johnson's first rookie year, they won the championship with the Lakers. Just overall, a really good player. He is very stubborn. I've kind of seen videos of him. He doesn't seem like the nicest person to be around, but obviously you can't deny his talent. And then
Marvin Gaye, I want to highlight him because he makes a lot of old school sexual music, when you
I would say romantic music, but yeah.
No, he has some bedroom bangers.
Okay.
But yeah, just being ruled by Mars. Mars is a very aggressive energy, but also very sexual. So whether it's like romantic or just straight up sexual, like either way, he has a lot of bedroom music. So I thought,
bedroom anthems.
yeah, so I thought that was very interesting.
So you said the Mars thing, it's kind of the passionate part. That's like the bedroom part you're referring to.
More than passionate, I think it's just straight up aggressive sexual energy.
Oh shit! Okay,
yeah.
I was trying to like water it down a little bit, but
the more like passionates are ruled by Venus, which would be Taurus and Libra.
I see. Okay, so
Yeah.
they would be passionate lovers, but Aries are like aggressive lovers.
Yeah, they know what they like.
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
All right, and then round us out with Little Nas X.
I love Lil Nas X.
I do too. That's kind of another one you and I really enjoy.
I feel like I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You know more about country music than I do, but I feel like he was one of the first Black artists to make like a country banger, country adjacent.
Yeah, kind of. I think the first to do it was Nelly back in the day. He did a collab with Tim McGraw, and he's from the South, so I think he embraced like his Southern roots. I feel like Nelly was a little safer with it because he kind of kept that like hip hop vibe. But when Lil Nas X came on, he definitely came with like a country banger. Like it was no doubt about what he was doing or representing.
And if you see the music video for "Call Me by Your Name," it's very scandalous, blasphemous, but he didn't just do it to be obnoxious. It had like a deeper meaning, and he was basically like, religion is weaponized against queer people. So how do queer people like reclaim some of their trauma? Through art. So it's really like an artistic piece to reclaim like that he is unashamed of being a gay man. So, but a lot of people got upset with him basically twerking on the devil. So then he made a response twerking on Jesus, and he's like, "There, I fixed it." He's a big troll. Great social media personality and
his
presence.
Twitter account is super funny.
One of the first to really show that like if you make it big on TikTok, like that can really be a launching pad for your music career, because Old Town Road was one of the first like
sounds, right?
And TikTok trends, yeah. So trendsetter for sure.
Yeah, I love me some Little Nas X. And yeah, that meme is super funny. He was like, "I'm like twerking on the devil. Why are you guys mad? Like, this is what we want, right?" So
yes.
Great. I think these archetypes are really good. All right. So I'm surprised Aries doesn't like beef with all of the the signs, and they just like don't fuck with anybody. But who are they least likely to kind of get along with?
They are least likely to get along with Cancers and Capricorns. And it's so funny because Alabama Barker is a Capricorn.
Oh my gosh.
So we have an Aries and a Capricorn beefing.
Going on in real life.
Yeah. And then also Ariana Grande is a Cancer and Mariah Carey is an Aries. And I know that they were beefing for a little bit to be like the high note queen.
Okay. I don't know if it was like actual like beef between them, but I think the media likes to sensationalize. Yeah. And who are they most likely to get along with? And then apart from that, the question I always ask, who would they be like a good relationship match for?
Mm-hmm. So they're most likely to get along with other fire signs, so Leos and Sagittarius, or other air signs, Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini.
How do you see like romantic relationships? I feel like it would be really hard to date an Aries, because even though you and I are Leos, and I think we do embody like what a Leo is, like I mentioned earlier, I feel like we do find that middle ground, and we want to keep peace. Yes, a lot of the times it's like we want to do things our way, so we can be very stubborn. But it sounds like with Aries, it would just be very difficult.
Yeah, so it's funny that you asked that, because I have a very similar question that was submitted through SpeakPipe. Thank you for using the platform. I miss hearing everyone else's gorgeous voices. So let me play that now.
This is your favorite Aries prima asking a question for the Aries episode. So yeah, my question is, which other signs work best to be in a relationship with an Aries? I know I've seen a lot of discussions. There's people that say like, oh, it should be other fire signs, other air signs, but not water signs especially. And I feel like in my case, I've always, I don't know, I get along best with water signs. So I'm curious to see like what your feedback is and, in your professional opinion, which is the best sign or some of the best signs for an Aries relationship.
Awesome. Great question. Again, thank you so much, Elsie, for submitting a voice note. We really, really appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, that's my question too. I mean, I like the messiness. So romantically, who should an Aries date?
I think that, in my professional opinion, the best sign for an Aries is a Libra, because they are a complementary element of air, but they are the same modality, which is a cardinal sign. So they will understand each other very well. And they have enough like similarities where it counts and opposite where it counts to where I feel like they would make a really good partnership.
So, kind of going back a little bit to my question, how is it to date an Aries? Because from what I mean, they sound like great people and it sounds like super passionate, but also at the same time, like, there are times where we do need to bring it down a notch, tone it down, be receptive to listening to other people. And in a relationship, I feel like that's very important to be able to put your needs to the side and really be receptive. From what we've talked about, it sounds like that might be a little more difficult for Aries. So how would it be like to date an Aries, and what would make like a successful relationship for them?
You know what's really funny? And you're gonna have your mind blown right now, but we are in a heavy Libra Aries relationship alongside from being Leos.
You and I?
Yes, in terms of romance. So I'm going to integrate our own astrology.
Wait, because you're a Libra rising.
Yup.
But I'm not an Aries anything.
Well, again,
everybody has a little bit. Got it. Okay.
So I'm a Libra rising, but my opposite, which, Aries is opposite Libra, Libra is opposite Aries. So my descendant, so you have your rising or your ascendant, which is the Eastern horizon when you're born. Your descendant or the Western horizon when you're born. Sorry, for rising, did I say Eastern or Western horizon? I meant Eastern. Yeah. So rising is Eastern, descendant is Western. That's what you're attracted to and what you hope to embody and you surround yourself with. So for me, that's Aries. I am very attracted to Aries energy. So when you're like, it's so difficult, I'm like, no, it's not. I love Aries so much, and that's what I'm attracted to in friends and relationships. And you're like, I don't understand that. But your fifth house, which rules hobbies, dating, pleasure, is Aries. So when we were dating, to me, you presented as an Aries.
Oh.
Because that's where our relationship started.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's my fifth house again?
Aries.
No, sorry. What does it represent?
It represents dating, pleasure, hobbies, also down the road, children.
Okay. So how does my Aries fit into that? Those things?
So when we were dating, when you first begin to date somebody, like on a more casual level, you present as your fifth house, which is for you, Aries.
Okay.
So what I noticed about you really quickly was that you didn't take shit from anybody. You were
towards the beginning? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You were a very independent person.
Okay.
Very carpe diem, like optimistic. We also mentioned that Aries can be optimistic, grabbing life by the horns. And just living your best life. And so I was really attracted to that. Also, you were a little more like spontaneous and were just like down to do anything.
That's the hobbies part?
Yeah. I had my restrictions. So, we couldn't be like as spontaneous, but I'm sure that we could have been more spontaneous if I wasn't like in the circumstances that I was in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was really attracted to that because and same thing with like friendships. I really like people that like know who they are unapologetic about who they are, and just grab life by the horns.
And so that's kind of where we met as far as kind of the love. But what about now continuing with like the hobbies part? What does my Aries say now that you've been with me almost 10 years? Like what consistencies do you see in my 5th house with the Aries?
You just do whatever you want. That sounds like fun. Like very recently you got into biking and your cousin kind of, I feel like, tried to give you shit for it. Like, oh, you're gonna go on your little bike ride, and you're just like, I don't care, biking is cool. Yeah, you do a lot of interesting stuff. Like,
well, we just talked about that too on the way here, right? Because one of my old college buddies sent me a picture of, because I used to DJ, and he sent me a picture of me DJing like a house party, and then I sent that picture to my group of friends that I have now, my local friends, and then what did one of them say? He's like,
you're the most interesting person I've ever met.
Yeah.
Because you just do so much stuff.
Yeah. Funny, maybe it is my Aries, but the way I see it is like, if you're interested in something, you get like one shot at life.
That is your Aries.
So you don't ever want to like not do something you want to try, because we don't get too many opportunities, and not even in like the life, but as you get older, as you progress, there are things you kind of start not being able to do. I feel like when you're young, you just feel invincible. You can do whatever, but at a certain point, like your physical limitations also start stopping you. That's a lot of problems with athletes. They'll retire, and something just across a lot of athletes who have retired, they say, my mind is still as sharp as it was when I was 20 years old, but my body can't do the things my mind asks it to do. So that's why there's a lot of like turmoil with like retired athletes, because their mindset is still there. And imagine not being able to like have your body do what your mind wants it to do on a professional level, right? I mean, there's, as we get older, we can't walk as well, we can't get up as quickly, our back hurts, but like, imagine you're playing at the highest level of something, and then one day, the only thing that like is stopping you from doing that is your body. So, except unless you're LeBron James.
yeah, invincible right there.
Okay, so my love, hobbies, and then you said one more, and then family. What was the one more after hobbies? Or what is your 5th house rule?
It rules dating, more like, it could rule sex, but it's more like the casual sexuality, children, pleasures, hobbies.
Pleasures. Okay, I think that's what you said. Okay, cool. And what about you? Where's your 7th house? Oh, your Aries is in 7th house. What does that mean?
Yeah, so I'm attracted to people that,
what is the 7th house?
The 7th house is relationships, and long-term commitment. So for me, I really like people that know what they're about, are unapologetic about what they do and who they are. Not necessarily in like a rude or dismissive way, but just people that are authentic. I like authenticity, and that's something that Aries does not lack, is authenticity. So when I do long-term commitments, not only like relationships, but also work. Like
partnerships.
And partnerships, which can also be in the 7th house. It's like marriage, contracts, business partners. I like to be in an organization that actually walks the talk and isn't afraid to like stand on their own 2 feet. Where I am now, basically we're getting bogged down by some politics, and they're just like, I don't care, we're not going to comply with like a stupid order. And so I love to see them walk their talk, and also just like being a leader in the field, like what I do for work 9 to 5, like not a lot of people do it. So they're pioneering in a field. So I don't see myself leaving unless this podcast gets famous and we can afford to quit. But short of that, like I really love what I do, and I don't see myself leaving.
One thing that I was going to bring up that I'd like you to analyze, how does our Aries work in our professional relationship? Because now we don't just have a romantic relationship. You and I do have a professional relationship which is like this podcast, our business. A lot of people always like ask us, is how does it like working with your wife? Like, I don't know if a lot of people would sign up to do something like that. As far as our Aries is concerned, how does that relationship mesh? Because we talked about, like, for me, it's hobbies, and it's when you said like relationships, long-term relationships, that kind of like triggered something in me to say like, oh, I wonder how Aries works in conjunction with these two.
So when you look at people's compatibility, one way to do it is called a synastry chart, where you put the charts basically on top of each other and see how they line up. So because your Aries is in your 5th house and my Aries is in my 7th house, they're 60 degrees away.
Okay.
When energies are 60 degrees away, they form something called a sextile, which is a great like working relationship. So because of that, I feel like we have very complementary elements in terms of like not only what we find fun, but long-term commitments together. So
yeah,
I think we work pretty well together. It's not perfect. Like we do have our days where we don't see eye to eye, but for the most part, I feel like we push through.
Yeah, no, and even not when you say not seeing eye to eye, I don't think it's like even disagreements. It's like we'll have different ideas. We'll talk about them, and either one idea that we think is collectively better than the other, or we'll meet somewhere in the middle. But it has not been exhausting, like working with you or like going on this endeavor together. You know, one thing I did notice recently too is I feel like our ebbs and flows are also in touch, because obviously this is a huge project for us. It's a huge time consumer. It is a passion project and we do love it. Our Aries really, really fucks with it. But there are cycles, right? There are times we're not as motivated. There are times where like it is a little more difficult to, get ready to come to the studio, record, and a bunch of the million things that we do. But I'm glad you mentioned that, because correct me if I'm wrong, but do you feel like the times we're feeling off and also when we're feeling re-energized and passionate, I feel like they're syncing up as well, right?
I would say like 99%.
90%, yeah. So
yeah.
Really good working relationship, and I think this did bring more clarity into it. So, all right, well, that wraps up most of our Aries. Is there any last thoughts? Do we like Aries? You sound like you fuck with them a lot.
I love Aries, yeah.
I think they're cool people. Your cousin's super awesome. I love hanging out with her. She's super funny. I think that's one thing I really appreciate about your cousin.
Yes.
Like, we'll send memes to each other sometimes, and like I'm always like in stitches anytime she sends me something. But yeah.
Yeah, I love Aries, period.
For next week, though, we are covering a very interesting subject that I'm super excited for. We've actually been telling people about this, and they're super, super interested. We're going to be covering cryptids. So I don't want to give too much away, but basically what cryptids are like mythical creatures. So think like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster. Those are the only examples I will give.
We will be covering local cryptids.
Yes.
So if you're local to the Central Valley, please submit questions, or even better, do you have experience with cryptids? We would love to hear your story. Actually, I'll put a call for stories.
Yeah.
But please send those through SpeakPipe. Like, if you send me a wall of text, I'm sorry, but we won't read it. Like, we want to hear your voice and you tell us about your experience with cryptids.
If you are shy, though, please send. Like, don't say we won't read it, because we will. But so please send in your comments.
Okay.
We want the content. But yeah, so again, I won't spoil too much of it, but this is what I'm really excited for. Now, this one is different than our aliens episode. Still kind of along the same realms, but it's a different subject. So, so if you do want a reading or you want some astrological knowledge, Jen is available. We're fully back. I know we kind of said that last episode, but we really are back. We're back on schedule, releasing on a weekly basis. So if you're interested in getting a reading, you can reach out to Genesis. How can people reach you?
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, at Jen Kahlo and jenkahlo.com.
Yeah. Also, we are on YouTube. If you don't mind, if you could please subscribe. We're working on back cataloging. It's a lot of work. We have 70 episodes, so I've been kind of like working at chipping at that. But we're going to be a little bit better on that. I know a lot of people do like watching YouTube, and now that we have like a video format, it's really good for that. So if you have not subscribed already, we kindly ask that you do that and spread the word, please, because word of mouth goes a long way. So,
and I'm trying to hit 50 subscribers so that I can go live on YouTube.
Yeah.
I think right now we have 14 subscribers. So yeah, if you could help us reach our goal to 50, that would be great. Thank you.
Awesome. All righty, everybody. Well, thank you so much. We're rounding out the signs. We have one left, but Aries was a wonderful sign to cover.
Yes. Remember, the magic within you makes the world a more beautiful place. Blessed be, and signing off. Bye.